G'day, fellas, and welcome to the grand final between Marine Lord, who spawns in on the west side of the map, playing the French. His opponent, who spawns in on the east side of the map, playing the color red, in the color red, playing the French civilization. It is Hera. These guys facing up against each other in the $20,000 Winter Championship in game number 1. Lidakor, how you doing?
I'm feeling hyped over here. I feel like both of these players really deserve to be here, barely losing any games. Marine Lord dropped only 2 games in the entire tournament, whereas Hera only dropped just 1, and he actually went 3-0 in the semifinals, whereas Marine Lord took down Viper. So really, both of these players are just having an absolutely phenomenal tournament so far, and what a better way to start this series than a French mirror here. Looking at the bases of Hera, nothing to be disappointed about. Gold at the back, bears at the back. That's all that you can ask for French mirror. And for Marine Lord, the gold's at the back, the berries much more exposed on the other hand, though.
Yeah, take a look at the deers, or the hunts. I'd say that they're both in relatively neutral position. Obviously, Marine Lord's a little bit more up towards the front. Have a look at Hera's, though. This is picture-perfect stuff when it comes to base building. He's got double deer in the back of his base, literally up against the wall. That is beautiful stuff.
Yep, that is going to be helpful. Both players have their deer patches close to each other, so that is definitely going to be helpful when it comes to the professional scouts gameplay as well, because you don't have to send out your scouts to multiple directions for hunts. You can just walk out there and just keep ferrying in from the same direction. On the other hand, it could also be disturbingly problematic if your opponent has the army over there, and then you could get cut off from all those huntables really fast. For now, it's standard opening, 8 on food for Hera with 3 on gold. On the other side, Marine Lord is doing the identical thing, so really just fast feudal into that School of Cavalry is what we're starting with today.
Yeah, going to be sending out the 4 villagers to gold as well, which to me indicates that they're going to be doing the standard opening, which is professional scouts. Typically, you wouldn't have this many villagers on gold unless you're going for professional scouts, and so that to me indicates that that is what they will be doing. So both players probably heading in that direction. Looks like Marine Lord. How many scouts has he opened up with already? Have we had a double scout opening from both of these players? I can see Hera's got 2 in the base at the moment. But Marine Lord, yeah, he's got the double out as well, heading down towards the south of Hera's base at the moment. So we've got the School of Cavalry that's coming out now. Marine Lord dropped his down. We've got the School of Cavalry coming down here for Hera as well. It looks like 3 on the on 4 now on the School of Cavalry. So both the players mirroring their build orders, and now Marine Lord coming in and being a little bit cheeky with his villagers, or with his scouts here against these villagers from Hera. And look how much damage is already taken on that scout. Got to be careful. It's pretty close to that town center.
Part of the reason why it's so good to open with a second scout, aside from the fact that you can get her some extra sheep, is that you can have 2 scouts harass the gold miners of the opponent, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Hera doing the exact same thing over here. That gold mine is a little further away from the town center of Marine Lord compared to the one of Hera, so for Marine Lord, holding that gold mine safe is gonna be a little more difficult compared to Hera. Marine Lord isn't really able to find a good angle to hit those villagers from without being hit from the town center.
Yeah, really tough position. You can see it comes in close, and I feel like he's actually being baited towards it. Look at Hera. He's being very cheeky. He's got 7 villagers in that town center. He knows exactly what he's doing. Now compare that over towards Marine Lord and have a look at how much more difficult it's going to be for him. He gets chased all the way back, and yeah, you can see that Marine Lord really having a bit of an unfavorable spawn here compared to his opponent.
Hera was cut off from gold for a longer time, though, so if you look at the resource bank, Marine Lord is at 135, Hera's only at 57 gold, which means Hera won't be able to afford a knight right at the beginning of Feudal Age, so he might need to go for a scout here to fight this off, or potentially a horseman. He decided not to go for a male, so no professional scouts just yet for him, and indeed, he's gonna have to open with a horseman, because he doesn't have gold enough to make a knight, whereas on the other side, Marine Lord will be able to squeeze in 1 knight to discourage any kind of aggression from those scouts here.
Yeah, look how cheeky he's being as well with these scouts in here. He knows that that knight's going to be coming out soon, so he's in here, he's just having fun until it does. He's delaying these villages, and to be honest, you probably just wouldn't even bother with these scouts if you were Marine Lord. You just don't even bother. Your knight's going to come out any second, and he's going to be able to repel this attack. But speaking of repelling the attack, a scout going to be coming out, only half HP at the moment, and here comes that knight to save the day, the knight in shining armor. Going to be able to repel those scouts and get itself out of here. And yeah, now we enter into a little bit of a lull period of the game. Actually, Marine Lord's still managing to do some damage over here on the scouts, or on the villagers of his opponent. Looks like the knight has come out and didn't get the charge on it, just walked straight up to it, started hitting it with the sword. Not going to get that extra damage out, but oh, he's still over here. Where did that knight go? Is it? Oh, he's heading out towards his opponent's. Oh my gosh. Mistake number one, Marine Lord. You've made it already.
Looking at those scouts over here, Marine Lord is going to have another knight coming in to try and help out those villagers, but he's got to be careful not to lose a villager because that's exactly how games could be snowballed. But so far, villagers stay alive for the time being. Looks like Hera also canceled the horseman that he queued up initially, which I think is the right thing to do. A horseman really wouldn't do much in these night wars, so probably just saving up the food and then popping that royal knight out helps a lot. There's a mill for Hera, but no professional scouts whatsoever, so he's just going to be taking the berries. Whereas on the other side, Marine Lord is going to have to find a new source of food soon, because his town center is running out of carcasses at an alarming rate.
Yeah, this is a difficult thing to be... It's so hard to be in this position playing in the mirror match because you want to have knights out, but at the same time, you're concerned about your food income. You need to get your scouts out to get your professional scouts in. But at the same time, you've got to try and balance that between making knights at the same time, and that's what's happening right now. But having a look back towards Hera's base, as we got a little bit of a slow motion happening right here. Look at that. Players chasing each other down in slow motion. We've got it captured. 2022, beautiful. But I want to have a look towards Hera's base. I want to see, he's placed a mill down towards those berry bushes. Has he got any technology coming through at the moment? Doesn't look like it just yet. Going to be dropping down a second stable, so not opting towards... Typically, we'd see players open up with that archery range, which would be quite common. Sometimes we'd even see like an early barracks out for players, but that's not going to be the case. Marine Lord already got that second stable down. You can see that on his wood line. So both players sticking with the same story at this stage. Are we just going to be seeing a mass of Royal Knights? Is that what it's going to be?
It should be, because that gives you a lot of mobility. Archer range here doesn't really make a lot of sense for the players because they don't do well against knights. Usually the way it works is that whoever falls behind in knight numbers is going to start adding spearmen because they will need to compensate for their lower knight numbers. But of course, if you add spearmen, you will have way less mobility. And then, if your opponent adds spearmen, then the other player can start adding some archers. As things stand, it looks like we will have Marine Lord moving all the way up, and Hera is moving out for his hunt over here, making a defensive tower. That tower can only garrison 5 villagers though, so having 9 villagers out here could prove to be fatal. Love how Hera is using that scout though, making sure that he's going to spot any incoming forces from Marine Lord.
Yeah, he's going to have to evacuate at least 4 of those villagers out. As you mentioned, they're not going to be able to fit in all the other villagers. But now on the gold mine of Marine Lord, Hera looks to try and take out a few villagers, at least prevent him from gathering gold, force out a couple of idle seconds. And now, indeed, he's going to be able to spot out those villagers up towards the east side of the map. Hera going to have to evacuate the area, but he's got plenty of knights back here to reinforce himself. And as you correctly identified, it's going to be difficult for players to actually transition away from knights. It just, once you're sort of in the circle of knights versus knights, you can only really make more knights. And now we've got ourselves a little one-on-one over here up towards the north of the base of Marine Lord. We'll take a look and spot. It looks like Hera's going to have to fall back as too much damage was done to his Royal Knight. But I love the little sword swing that they do. Did you see that? Where they swing around their sword?
Yep. Keeping those knights alive is going to be vital because as things stand, obviously with Chivalry you can heal those up. By the way, the overall number of villagers killed, if I'm not mistaken, was like 1 or so. In fact, yeah, there's 1 kill on each side and we've passed the 8-minute mark. So I guess both of our predictions when it comes to the amount of villagers killed is going to be heavily inaccurate, but that villager kill number is going to soon grow with Hera's Knights closing in on the gold mine of Marine Lord.
Yeah, it looks like 2 villagers might potentially go down here. But up towards the north, it looks like a few more villages going to be going down, so maybe we weren't too far off those numbers. Maybe we're just wrong on the minutes, perhaps, but these villagers going to get screened very appropriately by these knights, and a nice little defensive joust coming in, not managing to make it all the way in, but got to be careful here. 11 villagers could get those numbers thinned down. And now villagers, nice little pull around the gold mine, manages to keep the majority of these safe. They are going to be able to survive, and now Hera holds on for dear life as majority of his villagers have gone idle, but at least he keeps them alive, Lidicor. That's what really matters.
That's what really matters indeed, and he also keeps his knights alive, whereas Marine Lord lost 2 over there. Now Hera loses 1, but given the fact that Hera's entire economy is idle, this is still concerning for him because he currently has basically no food income or gold income, and those villagers being right in the middle of that battle isn't necessarily something that helps Hera either.
Yeah, that's not pretty, is it? That's a lot of villagers potentially going to be going down here. Marine Lord got superior numbers, at least it looks like it. Trying our best to get in nice and close. It actually looks like Hera has come out on top in this, using the defender's advantage and reinforcing his troops, doing a great job, and at the same time, raids happening. Look at all the villagers that are out here with their berry basket, rather. They're collecting these berries, doing a bit of a long-distance mine, decided that that's the best place for them to go. I'm curious as to whether they just decided to go out there, because that was a lot of food that they've been picking up.
Yeah, I wonder if that was automatic or this was just Marine Lord right-clicking it, thinking that he's going to make a mill, but then he forgot or he was just too busy doing something else. But now, the night numbers are looking disturbingly low for Marine Lord. Marine Lord not having access to those berries and in general having a very limited food income, namely 0 villagers on food, is putting a dip into his night numbers. It's 5 army versus 11. Villager counts are dead even, so currently this is massive advantage for Hera.
This is not good at all. This is not looking pretty right now for Marine Lord, and Hera is only going to look to push this lead as well. We saw over towards the west of Marine Lord's base that he was actually expanding out on those back berries, but we see Hera now beginning to loop around towards that direction. You see the majority of the night numbers moving up around that first wood line, heading over towards that second wood line. They know that there's a gold mine down there potentially. He looks to try and get a bit of action on that wood line, doesn't spot out any villagers. You're going to be heading off in the other direction. He knows there's going to be villagers out here somewhere, Lidakor, and the question is, where are they? Show me where they're at. And yeah, he has spotted out these berries, so he does know that they are there. We can see him beginning to move around. Marine Lord knows that there's something going to be happening, and indeed spots that out. A lot of villagers under here. Oh, he's got to be so careful. This could be a good game right here, Lidakor.
It indeed could be. The Knights will do the animation cancelling, but the numbers are better here for Hera. The Horsemen won't really be a factor in this fight. Tower Fire helps quite a bit over here, and it looks like the overall HP for Marine Lord's forces are also greater, so looks like, especially if that low HP Knight is being pulled away, that's a win there for Marine Lord for the time being.
Yeah, he manages to hold on just. Geez, that was close, wasn't it? The animation cancelling there, helping him keep his head above water. But now Hera able to flood in units behind this. So we're able to take a look at what the resources in the bank are at the moment. We've got the income, but I'm curious to see how many resources are stacked up and where the players are looking to go up to the next age. It doesn't seem like it. It seems like everybody is just geared towards making more cavalry. And it looks like a third stable going to be coming out now for Hera. So really, you can start to see, the way that this matchup is beginning to get played. No spears at all, no archers at all. It is just purely those cavalry units.
He was able to take down that low HP Knight there as well. And now he knows that basically all the eco for Marine Lord is on the left side of his base. Villagers on the berries and on the gold. That's the target here for Hera. And the thing is that Marine Lord is soon running out of those berries, so this is not going to be very sustainable for him in the long run either. Whereas for Hera, because he has map control, he's able to access those huntables without any problems.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So the fact that he's able to access that hunt is really what's giving him that lead, because he's subsequently able to continue reinforcing because he's got that high quality food source, the reliable food source, and as he finishes those deer hunts, he's going to be able to move towards boars eventually. Even though they're out in the middle of the map, he's going to have map control, and even going up against a French player, that's okay. But now looking to push in, you can see that the players are just sort of jostling for position at this point, and now moving out over towards the west side of the base, and looking to pick up those villages. Hera is looking towards that position. He knows there are a lot of villagers out there, and it's only a matter of time before they start to get a little bit more, what's the word, delicious.
But Hera also knows that those berries are almost depleted, so he knows exactly he doesn't have to force the issue. All he needs to do is just make sure he doesn't throw away his numbers, because Marine Lord has enough knights to defend, but he doesn't have enough to break out of his base. So being able to just control the map and control the hunts and this outside barriers could be key. Speaking of which, Marine Lord sends a bunch of villagers out there for the hunts. If Hera ever sends just one knight over there, that's game over.
Yeah, I think Hera should probably be monitoring this with, at the very least, a scout. You could keep one scout there and be able to spot out both of those hunts very easily. And the fact that he hasn't done that, a little bit of an oversight, but now it looks like he's also going to be expanding up towards the north. Marine Lord has gone for the furthest hunt away because obviously it's a little bit closer to the edge of the map, a little bit further away, but at the same time, it's probably less likely to be hit. A smart move from him.
And Hera is just now going to realize that those berries are depleted, so really there is no one to kill here except for a couple of gold miners. That could be some nice pickups. Currently 51 villagers for Hera, 48 for Marine Lord, so slight advantage for Hera here. But killing those gold miners over there could push that to an even greater lead at this point.
Yeah, Hera now going to be moving in behind the base of Marine Lord. A little bit of a number advantage here for Hera at the moment, at least it seems that way. This could be a deciding fight right now. If Hera is able to overwhelm his opponent, he's going to be able to move in towards that villager line and really take the game. But now Hera continuing to hit away at his opponent. You can see the numbers beginning to build for Hera, and he is looking incredibly strong. Marine Lord taps out, calls good game, says, you know what? You got too many bloody cavalry units. You got too many of those Royal Knights. Get out of here. And he taps out. He says, let's go on to game number 2.
It is just such a snowballing mirror, potentially the most snowballing mirror of all, simply because the moment one player gets forced off from the goal just for a brief moment, the opponent is going to have the knight numbers advantage. And you see, it didn't start out like something big. Marine Lord lost 1 or 2 villagers, but that consistent 1 or 2 villagers deficit started to translate into a slightly weaker economy, and a slightly weaker eco will translate into lower knight numbers, and of course the lower knight numbers will translate into more map control for Hera. And Hera being able to access those hunts, and that was probably the key thing here. In this game, 700 food difference, as well as almost double the gold here for Hera in just a 90 minutes long game. That's a massive difference between the two players, and that all comes from the fact that Hera was able to apply a lot more pressure, so Hera's eco was completely untouched, and he was able to access his hunt